everyone. Thank you for coming. I'm Gina Mathias, the City Sustainability Manager, and I want to thank ADU for hosting this cooking demonstration and Chef Egg for joining us today. And I am just really excited to have an in-person event. This is the first one I've hosted in several years, so thank you for coming today. And as you know, the city has a goal to reach net zero emissions by 2035, which means we have to get rid of natural gas in all of our homes and apartment buildings and businesses by 2035. So one of the biggest sticking points I hear from people is a personal one, which is, I like cooking on gas. I don't want an electric stove. They're awful. Well, Chef Egg is going to tell you about how great an alternative to regular electric stovetop is, which is an induction stovetop. I'll let him tell you about all the merits. I'll tell you from the climate perspective. Sure, your gas stove isn't the biggest user of gas in your home, but every bit counts if we're going to get to net zero by 2035. So there are alternatives available, and I hope this is the most delicious way you've ever talked about climate change and the city's goals. So thank you.
Thank you, Gina. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. My name is Chef Egg. It is my goal to give you all the skills you need to succeed in the kitchen. Today we're going to learn about the induction, a little bit of my background. I used to work at Whole Foods in downtown Silver Spring in this area, and I did cooking classes, and I did outreach events to schools, and we were talking about every police hall, every fire station I was at doing healthy cooking demos, a lot of the schools, downtown Silver Spring, and a lot of the events there. So it makes me very happy to be back here, especially talking about these induction range tops. Right now I'm boiling water over here. I have a 6 and a 9-year-old. They want pasta for every meal of every day. It takes 15 minutes to boil a pot of water for this pasta. It takes about 3 to 4 minutes to do a full pot. This is about 2 quarts in there. 3 to 4 minutes to do that. So the first thing we talk about is heat transfer from induction to our cooking surfaces over here happens very, very quickly. Okay, that's a huge advantage. I wrote some stuff down for everybody, and I just want you all to have this on the top of your brain as we're talking about this. And we'll review this at the end. And if you have any questions, we can certainly put our hands up and ask. I'm here for that. But we talk about electricity use. Gas burners, 40% efficiency. The flame that comes up heats the bottom of the skillet. It also heats everything around it, and then you've got your carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide. Electric stovetops around 50%. Again, it heats up everything around it, including the pot, and me as well. It was 90 degrees last week, and I had my range on. I'm making dinner, and the temperature in my kitchen goes up by 7 to 10 degrees every time I do that. Then my AC kicks on, and I got my AC on when I didn't want it. You don't think about these things because we've been using these items our whole entire life, but they're not very efficient, okay? Induction burners boast 90% efficiency. Now, how do they do that? Well, they do that through electromagnetism. And what happens is there's electromagnetic coils under here that react to steel. Okay, so there's steel in this pot, and there's steel on the bottom of this. This is from IKEA, and I bought it years and years ago, and I use it. It's non-stick, but I use it because it's super easy. I do it for a lot of my demonstrations, but it conducts on the bottom. And how do you know if it's got enough steel to conduct? Well, if a magnet sticks to it, you're ready to rock and roll. So the magnets swirl on the bottom. They react with the steel in here. And instead of conducting electricity, they produce thermal energy, which is heat, okay? So nothing around here is hot right now. I can put my hand right over here. I can put my hand right next to this. It's slightly warm, like literally slightly warm, but my hand's right here. There's nothing. If I pull this pot off, boiling stops immediately. If I put it right back on, boiling starts again, okay? It's like that. It's really cool. I will say, and I will reiterate throughout this thing, I was totally against these before I started using them. I need gas, I'm a chef, I like flames and all this stuff. It means nothing to me now because the cooking process happens so quickly. And more than flame and fire, I like food. So we are going to learn how to cook with this today. Going over ease of care and use. It's easy to clean. You wipe it off before and after every use. The heat controls come up. The quick response. Sometimes things are burning on the skillet. Sometimes it's not hot enough to get a good sear, and I just have to move this over. There has numbers over here, and it heats up immediately. Instead of gas taking a minute or two, the electric takes longer than that. So really easy to care for, really easy to use. I would say the one thing you have to do is you have to be gentle with it. Okay, but I think most home cooks can be gentle. I'm fairly rough with things, but I'm learning to have a little bit more nuance with my cooking. But these work wonderfully. So we're boiling.
What do you mean by gentle? Gentle with what?
I shan't slam this down.
With the glass?
Yeah, because it's a glass top. So you just have to be more gentle, as opposed to if it was something like that, I could slam something down and not worry about it at all. So I would say using common sense to make sure that it is not going to break the glass on top.
Is it tempered glass?
Oh yeah. It won't. It's not a shard of glass. So, so we're boiling water over here, and I wanted to get my main dish started. I have some cauliflower stems and leaves over here, and I have some salted water over here. And what I want to do is just boil these for a couple of minutes till they're nice and soft. And we talk about conservation in the kitchen. I'm going to make the sauce for our pan roasted cauliflower using the bits of stems and leaves from that, okay? So we've got salted water, and we're just going to put that in here, and we're going to give it maybe about 5 minutes. Put this over here. I'm going to get that going. If it's boiling over, I can just drop the heat a little bit. It will legitimately drop it within seconds, okay? So we're going to cook these. This is salted water. We want to keep that nice green color of the cabbage in there. But I have something over here for you. What's cool about this is a monster-sized burner over here. So if you have a 20-quart pot and you want to make tomato sauce, you can put it right on here. Set it on low, bring it up to a simmer, saute your onions and garlic, put the tomatoes in there. The big thing with the sauce or an Italian gravy is it can't burn on the bottom, right? And if I put this on and I set it on the low simmer setting, it will keep a constant temperature for hours and hours and hours without burning anything on the bottom. So it's really, really cool. I've seen people sous vide on these. Do you guys know what sous vide is? The vacuum packing. You vacuum pack food, you get a pot like this, fill it with water, and you have to keep a constant temperature in it, okay? So I can legitimately, and we've done tests with this, where we watch the temperature setting on a 1, a 2, a 3, and a 4, going up to 10. And if you want a medium rare steak or you want a piece of fish cooked perfectly, you can put it in that sous vide and then simmer it, take it out, and then reverse sear it if you want. But it'll keep a perfect temperature for hours and hours for many, many different things. Now what I'm going to do is just press this middle button, and I'm going to bring this up to about a 5. I've got some mushrooms that I started sauteing. Sauteed mushrooms, especially in the spring and summer, is really, really wonderful. If the pan's too hot, you're going to burn your mushrooms. We started out with a really big pan of this, and the pans never get hot enough, and so the mushrooms boil in here. This pan got to a perfect temperature. Karen was with me. This is my assistant, Karen, over here. We got this to a perfect temperature. We had probably, I would say, 4 quarts of mushrooms in a huge skillet. It cooked it in like 7 minutes. Perfect brown. The water evaporated from the mushrooms, and everything was perfect in just a few minutes. So we have some mushrooms over here. We're going to bring them back up to temperature and finish browning them very well. A little olive oil, a little salt and pepper. And then we're going to put some herbs in there as well. And then we have some French baguette over here. We're going to serve the mushrooms on the baguette and then serve some Gruyere cheese on top of that. Does that sound good to everybody? So we're boiling our cauliflower. Again, we added salt. And I just have a perfect boil. If I have to, legitimately, I'm going to go home today and just be so mad when my kids ask for noodles. Because I'm going to sit there. They say you don't watch a pot because it will never cook. I'm the guy who watches the pot. We were just talking about, me and Gina, that Takoma Park has a program where you can actually rent what they call a hob, and you can rent an induction hob. It's a small little induction cooker. She says, the kid was screaming. They needed a grilled cheese sandwich super fast. Within minutes, she had the perfectly crispy grilled cheese sandwich. And I was like, oh, you are so correct. Like, I have to go, before I can redo my kitchen and get one of these, like, I got to get one of these online because they work so well. So this is working well. This is coming right up to heat. I hear a nice sizzle on there. You can hear it underneath. There's a little bit of motion underneath, and that's the stuff whirling about.
You're touching this, so it's not heating the pan so much that you can't.
So right now, it's just coming up to heat. I'm touching this. It was just on. It's cool to the touch. If I put a dollar bill in here, the dollar bill is not going to burn because the heat doesn't come from the bottom. It's the bottom reacting to the top. So you need two pieces for that. Okay. I'm just going to turn my heat up a little bit more over here. But yeah, I'm touching it. It's just not coming up to heat yet. But I'm touching the bottom, and it's not hot to the touch. I have children, and they want to be by the stove all the time. It's very dangerous. We were talking about, the gas emissions from the stove inside the house. If it's not properly ventilated, the gas emissions can cause problems for your family with asthma and things of that nature. So you have to watch out for these types of things. And it's not things we think about all the time. But when you do think about it, it's a lot of common sense stuff that's kind of coming to light. So I just turned the heat up on this, and I can already hear the sizzle on it. This is mushrooms, salt, pepper, and a little bit of olive oil, okay? So we are rocking and rolling with that. I also have some herbes de Provence. Are you guys familiar with herbes de Provence? Herbs of Provence. So it has rosemary, lavender, marjoram, thyme, sometimes a little bit of sage in there. I always like it because there's little blue lavender flowers in there. And when are you going to cook with lavender flowers? But if it's in the actual skillet. So I can pick this up and just give this a saute, put it right back down, and it's going to come and simmer right away. We've got some beautiful French bread over here, and I just want to warm this up and get some good color on that. There we go. These are going to take just a few minutes. Now, what I'm going to do with these stems, and again, we talk about conservation. Conservation in the kitchen is huge. And I think that the cooking appliances is the kind of the final frontier. Because in a kitchen, a professional kitchen, every bit of food you purchase should be sold. That's how you make money. And you don't make money on the first piece of cake that you make money on the last two pieces of cake that you make. So if I can make a sauce, or I can utilize my stems and my scraps, that's the best thing for me as a cook, as a professional cook, as a cook in my home. We were talking about compost as well. Get that little compost going. You're making, soups and stuff, stocks out of your scraps, and you can have a zero net waste kitchen fairly easy. I started composting in Towson, where I live. We used to live in Baltimore City. I have 1 bag of trash a week, as opposed to 2 bags of trash a week. So we're cutting that out immediately. And then when you talk about switching over, getting the gas out, getting the electric out, and really working with induction, you can do a lot of amazing things very quickly, and really in a very smart way as well. So I just want to check this over here. What we're going to do is we're going to take these stems, put them back in here. I have a hand blender, and we are going to hand blend our stems with a little tahini and lemon and some red chili pepper flake, and use that on the bottom of our dish. So these look absolutely wonderful over here. Very nice. We're going to put that back on. Looking good. And I'm just going to grab some gloves because I want to serve this up to you all, because you all look very hungry. And, very, very simple preparation. A lot of fun to make. Any kind of mushroom you like. So if you got, these are baby bellas and white mushrooms, creminis, shiitakes, whatever you have. And I have some friends that are really into mushrooms, and they would put truffles on top of this as well, but I'm not quite there. So we've got a nice brown on this. Turn my heat up just a little bit. They have been seasoned properly. We'll do a little bit more of those herbs. We've got fresh cracked pepper on there. We're going to squeeze a little lemon on this, chop up some parsley, and then serve this up to you all. So What lemon does, especially with the earthy flavors of the mushrooms, lemon or the acid in the lemon really enhances the earthiness of those mushrooms. So you could use vinegar, lemon, lime, anything like that. You know, it's like when you get tacos from the taco truck and they got the lime right next to it and you can squeeze it right on it. It enhances the flavor of the spices. And, you know, if you have meat, chicken, or fish, it really enhances that very, very much. So we've got that going over here. We got some lemon, just some parsley. I'm going to bunch this up. We have washed and drained our parsley very well because we don't want to add watery herbs on top of our food. So we'll prep this up. Karen's going to come by and pass out some plates of delicious food to everybody. But I just wanted to show you how easy this is, how fast this comes up to temperature. And then we're going to move on to our main dish. But before we do, I want to talk to you about...
What is causing this? You say that you set the pan back down?
Yeah,
What is that?
it's just letting you know that you picked the pan up.
Automatically will turn to off the saucer so you can put the pan off of it. And then when you put the pan back on, then it automatically starts to spin when it's on. So
So we're just going to top this off. Put a little cheese, put a little herbs on top, and have some fun with it. Any kind of cheese you like, goat cheese, Parmesan cheese. This is cave-aged Gruyere cheese, which I like to enjoy very much on just about anything. People always say, what's Gruyere taste like? I'm like, it's like cheddar cheese and Parmesan cheese put together. And they're like, that tastes good. I'm like, yes, it does. And you just need a little bit. Maybe 1 second, Karen. I'm going to herb these up. And we'll pass this out. And we'll take that. What's up? We're going to do red chili pepper flakes for our sauce over here, for the cauliflower. Okay. Yes, I'll pass that right to you. There you go. We're going to turn this off. And there's a simple off button. This looks wonderful. Silver star, here you go. I'm going to pass this to you all over here.
Here, why don't we just before we qualify, aren't, it's rare that you can find a stove that energy.
What are you doing?
Is that also true of induction? Okay.
Say that one more time.
I understand that stoves are not usually Energy Star certified.
Okay.
Is that also the case for induction?
You know, I'm not quite sure, and I think after we're going to have an ADU rep here for you all, and they'll be able to answer those technical questions for you, without a doubt. We are looking to renovate our kitchen, and our family is very heavy into making sure that everything is going to last and is energy efficient, as you know, as we switch over from the 90s. So I'm interested to know this as well. I think it's a great question. And these are only going to improve. So these were originally made, goodness gracious, I want to say like 80, 90 years ago. This is not a new technology. It's just coming over to the States as a new technology. So these were created many, many years ago, the technology, and now we're just starting to see them on a commercial basis here in the United States. It's a great question, and I have that written down over here. I'm going to tell you. By GE in the 1950s, created in 1933 in Europe. They had it for a World's Fair in Europe, as I did all my extensive research for this. But to know that GE's had this for 70 years and we're just starting to get it is a little on the ridiculous side, but hey.
Can I interject?
Sure.
This was originally done, and it did come out with induction about 15 years ago.
Uh-huh.
But it was such a new technology, nobody wanted it.
Really?
Then the whole green movement came, and then everybody all of a sudden
I got it, Karen.
because it's such a afterwards.
Let me just take these, okay?
Induction, answer any other questions you might have.
There you go.
No, that's great. But just tons of fun. And that's really, I think at the end of the day, cooking can become such a chore. And to be able to cook on fun stuff like this, it makes it more enjoyable. All right. So we're going to finish this up and get this out to everybody. My good friend Karen shall come. I'm going to give you this whole thing, Karen. And you're going to give that right back to me. Parsley on top of all of them. There you go. Beautiful.
Great.
Thank you so much. So we're going to move this back here. We're going to gather up our second skillet. This is a big, big skillet. And we've got some cauliflower steaks over here. This is not a steak per se. It's a nice flat piece of cauliflower. But what's wonderful about it is we season them on both sides and sear them in a little olive oil. And we're going to create our sauce over here. And then what we're going to do is add some capers and some raisins to it. Some shallot as well. Sweet, savory, salty, all of those things. We're just going to move this back here for now and get that rocking and rolling. But we want to talk about searing. You know, whether it is a vegetable or a nice piece of fish or a really expensive steak, you want to make sure that you have even heat over your surface. And so we're going to turn that on and we're going to...
I need 2 more. I'll get it.
Okay. We have 2 more. We've got that. So we're going to get that moving. There we go. Beautiful. And then we're going to put that up to 7, okay? We're talking about medium heat. We are talking about making sure nothing burns. Oh, here you go.
Excuse me. I'm just doing this.
And I'm going to give you this grater for that.
I'll have that.
Thank you. I'm putting my hand on it. It's already hot. Like that's how fast this is cooking. And in 10 seconds, I'm not going to be able to put my hand on it anymore. So we just want to make sure that we let you all know that this is just so fast, so efficient. I'm going to take these stems out of here, and they're nice and soft. I'm going to put this in this container over here, and we'll get to our sauce in a moment. Really, really easy. Nice, beautiful color on that. If you were going to hold this and make your sauce later, we would put this in ice cold water to shock it. That's beautiful. We're going to take this out of the way. Karen, I'm coming through with hot stuff.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
I'm going this way.
There you go.
Thank you.
So we've got that moving. I'm going to move this over here.
Uh-huh.
Move this over here.
I got it.
And just be organized. So we're going to get this nice and hot. We'll add a little bit of olive oil to there. A little bit of salt and pepper on the cauliflower. So just a little sprinkle, nothing too crazy. It's going to help to form a crust. It's going to help to create beautiful color. A little bit of fresh cracked pepper. I have a pepper grinder at home. I started using an old coffee grinder because I'm making my pepper and spices more in bulk, and it works out really well, especially if you're growing herbs. If you can dry your herbs, which you can do in an oven or you can do that in a food dehydrator, and then you can grind up your own onion and basil, and it works out really, really well.
Are we reusing it?
No. We're gonna.
I think he has more. He has a ton of-
I have a ton more, my friend, and those are all compostable as well. So we've got some olive oil in the bottom of our skillet. We have our cauliflower in here. We're going to do a little bit of pepper in here. A little bit of pepper, a little bit of salt. Oh, this thing wants to... That thing thinks that there's something on it. It wants to cook, so we're going to move that over there. There we go. We're going to add a little salt to this. We are going to add, we'll omit the chili pepper flakes for now. We've got some lemon juice as well. And then we're going to add some tahini to this to create a beautiful sauce. So squeeze that right in there. Good lemon flavor. A little bit of parsley. Just for some green and some fun. And I've got a hand blender down here that will start to blend that up. There we go. All right. So we have this tahini, which is our sesame seed paste. We're going to pour that right in there. Looks really, really good. And we're going to grab just a little bit of this cooking water over here. And you use this to thin out. There we go. So you can just take a little bit. You got all your vitamins and nutrients in there as well. Just a little bit to thin that out. That looks great. How are those mushrooms and toast? Good? All right. We've got to know we're making good food or none of this counts, right? So let's take our large skillet. Take out a couple of these pieces. See how you hear that sizzle right away? Yeah. That's how you know your skillet's nice and hot. Get a little bit of oil. You want surface. The surface area is going to help to get good color, good flavor. Looking good. I'm just picking the most choice pieces out for us. There we go. And you get a sizzle as you would with any type of protein, but this is all veggies, which is really, really great. Several times a week in my house, my wife wants a vegetarian meal, and that's what we cook up, and this is a great option for that.
Can you use the same amount of olive oil that you use on a normal gas stove?
Yeah, sure. And I always try to keep things reasonable as far as that goes.
Is there any attachment to ingredients for cooking on an induction stove?
No, I wouldn't say so. Okay, 1, 2, 4, 6, 10. Get a couple more in there. And I may add a little bit more olive oil just to make sure this is extra crispy and delicious. That doesn't hurt anybody. All right, thank you so much, Karen. A little bit more oil in there. And then a little bit on top as well. Just to make sure it's yummy and delicious. I always think that olive oil is like a kind of like a blessing for the food. I don't use too much of it, but when you add it on, it's got such great flavor and has such a culinary history and a history bringing people together in the world as a whole that I just love olive oil and all of its iterations. So we're going to leave this flat. We can take a peek every once in a while, but we do want it to brown up nicely. I like to use extra virgin olive oil. There's different oils for different things. My wife goes to me, she goes, I have a friend that lives on a farm in Italy and she's making olive oil. Should we get some? And I'm like, is this a trick question? Like, of course, get it. I don't even want to know how much it costs. But it was great. It was awesome olive oil, and I use that just for drizzling on the top of stuff. And then I can get some, what is this, Bertolli from the store. It was on sale. And I can use that for frying up some cauliflower. And, what I'm trying to do is get the veggie oil out of there and not use these processed oils and just kind of keep it cool with some olive oil. So this looks wonderful. I do want to blend this up. So I've got a hand blender over here. There we go. It's just a little stuck. There we go. These hand blenders work really, really well. Oh, it smells awesome. It That looks so, so good. Could you grab me some of the water, please? And we just want to thin this out a little bit. Just turning that over. This cauliflower looks beautiful. Just with my hand. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. And you just thin it out with some of that cooking water. And you are rocking and rolling. We'll taste it for salt and pepper. Can you take that for me, please? All right, that looks great.
So is that just cauliflower stem, soup, and then
And the lemon juice and some herbs. That's it. Use what you have, right? It's so good. It tastes like Alfredo sauce. So we're going to start to turn this over. Look at the browning on that cauliflower. That is a party right there. And my friend gave this to me. It was a summertime thing. He's like, oh, we're going to do cauliflower steaks. I was dubious. I enjoy my summertime grilled meats. And I'd seen these steaks on the Food Network and stuff. It's good. I like cauliflower. But this tastes really, really good. It's just a beautiful presentation. And as I get older and I have to cook more healthfully for my family, this is a great way to do it. Really and truly. So great caramelization all over, even cooking. And the goal here is, with most vegetables, get a good sear on the outside. And then make sure it's nice and kind of firm in the middle. You know, you want that different flavor, different texture with the cooked and the uncooked. Little salt, little pepper. That looks beautiful. And I'm just checking the time over here, make sure we don't keep it too long. And what we're going to do, once this cooks for a few more minutes, we will add our raisins and capers to this and get those kind of plumped up, add a little more olive oil to that, a little bit of lemon juice as well, and then we will serve that up. But I wanted to talk about dessert for a moment, okay? Do you want to go grab those? We made some chocolate-covered strawberries. Strawberries are coming into season right now, and they're just the best. I think strawberries are I think strawberries are the best food in the world. Okay, the best strawberries you can get are the best. They're just fantastic, and to cover them in chocolate's great. This has a simmer button on it, but it also has a melt button. And you know, you can put your chocolate over a double boiler and you can let it sit there. Sometimes the double boiler with the addition of water can do some things to the chocolate. But we melted chocolate directly in the pot on the melt. It took like 10 minutes to do. 2 full bags. Thank you so much. And then we made these beautiful chocolate-covered strawberries. Should we give them chocolate-covered strawberries now?
Why not? Why not?
Are you guys down with that? Well, let me hear it. Are you guys down with that? Okay. Let's do the chocolate covers. Let's go straight to dessert. I didn't think you guys would have a problem with that, but you can grab the plates in the back, or you can do it on. Or if you would just do a napkin, that might work too.
Okay.
Yeah. So for if you're baking, if you're making a creme anglaise, if you're making egg-based custards, they can overcook like that, and then you're throwing the stuff away. And if you can keep this on a low simmer or a melt or a keep warm, I think it's really, you know, functionally very, very cool and a lot of fun to work with as well. I don't know, have you guys ever messed up a custard? You're just like, yes, I've done that before. So just think about these things and think about, you know, your culinary journey, and think about how many times did something go over heat? How many times did I put a steak in and it didn't sear right away? How many times did I do these things? And now they're just making more efficient tools to help you be a better cook. Hopefully be a more health conscious cook, but we talk about custards and ice creams and stuff like that, chocolate. So you can go either way. It can make you a better cook either way you're looking at it. Talking about the skillets that I'm using, The pot we used is a Tramontina pot. Costs $30 to $40. I just saw a whole Tramontina tri-ply steel set at Costco for $150, and I wanted to buy it, but I didn't because somebody in my house would get mad at me. But it had all the stuff in it. You can probably go to Costco right now and still buy it. This is a commercial pan. It has a steel bottom. It costs $30 to $40. Very popular right now are steel pans, the carbon steel pans that are flat on the bottom. This will heat up right away on those. And then your cast iron will work on these as well. Anything that a magnet sticks to. What won't work is aluminum cookware, okay? And we notice I have another large skillet, and it has steel in it, but this one has a steel base that's working a whole lot better than the other one. So this looks really, really wonderful over here. I'm going to take some raisins and toss them in this skillet. Something sweet, right? And I've got some capers, something salty. That looks great. I'm going to drop my heat on this to about a 5. And then I'm going to add a little bit more olive oil to this just to get our capers kind of sizzling away. Those look beautiful. Sweet and sour. We're going to squeeze a little bit of lemon juice on this as well. A little bit more over here. This looks beautiful. We've got that sauce ready to rock and roll. Some fresh herbs for the top. And then we're going to serve this up. It's a very, very simple dish. I think everybody will enjoy. Keeping everything nice and organized. Another thing that I really love about this is, again, the ease of cleaning. And if you have to get some banh mi or something to put on top, I think it's a great investment. But just after everything, you wipe it down. If something spills, wipe it up quickly. But I think especially with the spills, since there's no heat, that if you spill something, it's not going to burn into the glass as you would a normal tempered glass top. Okay? Let me just grab a spoon. We just want to cook these. I kind of want to bring my raisins to life in here. Give them a good sizzle. Put that. There we go. And is this going to take you a few minutes to get a hang of when you're using it? Of course it will. But I think it's really quite fun to do. And we'll start plating these up for everybody. Could you grab me some plates, please? Oh, I have them right back here. Look at me. Look at me. While we plate this up, I'd love to know if you all have any questions about the cooking process, how much fun it is to cook with this as well. But just anything that maybe is at the top of your mind, you know, yeah.
Could you use the a melt or low setting for proofing bread dough?
You know, I think that might be a bit too much. What I normally do for that is I will turn my oven on for a minute or two and then keep it in there, because you're going to get a closed oven is going to keep that heat in more. That's a really, really good question. Do you like to bake?
My husband makes lots of
Okay. Lots of pizza? Okay. I got myself one of those pizza ovens. There's a pizza oven right here. You talk to the crew at ADU and they will tell you about the Monogram pizza oven. It is quite fun to play with, especially if you're into that type of thing. So we'll take a little bit of this sauce and just do a dollop right at the bottom.
It looks as though maybe the big pan has a more even heating on the bottom than a gas. You get a wider surface.
Sure.
Is
Well,
that accurate?
I would say, you can have anything, and they'll tell you here, you can have anything you want. You'll notice the different circles, the different sizes. This one does have one for a large pan or a large pot. There are different brands that make these. And it's up to you. Some people want 6 small ones. Some people want 2 large ones. And I think that's something that you can talk to ADU about, because, you should buy this stuff and it should be exactly the way you want it.
If you put a big pot on a smaller circle, it doesn't matter really.
No, it'll cook it. It's not gonna Yeah, there's less surface area, so that is, something you got to think about, but I think something worth talking about.
It just can't overlap by 2 inches. It can't overlap by more than 2 inches. The top. Does it ever get too hot right directly above the heating element?
Like right here,
Yeah.
like with my pan.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be the same with your other, minus the extra heat that's coming around the side. And I'll give you an example. When I'm cooking with gas, if I put my hand here, I can feel there's flame coming up there, and I will singe my arm. Here, none of that's happening. I'm putting my hand right here, and nothing's happening. So I think just for that safety aspect, you're rocking and rolling.
I mean, a perfect example is he has the plates so close to the pan, and I guarantee he would do that with gas.
No.
Or electric.
That's just one option.
Yeah, I mean, or electric. So we are serving these up for you all. I really hope you enjoy this, and I hope you enjoyed, hanging out with us here at ADU in Takoma Park. We've got a great staff here. If you have any questions, you reach out and you ask. The more you are empowered to understand, how you're cooking and what your needs are, the better able we are to serve you. And that is our goal and our job. So we're going to put some herbs right on these. You got it. Right on top.
Is the stove part, can that also be induction, or does that have to be?
I haven't heard about induction stoves. I would think that's a wonderful idea. I'm not quite sure how they would do that. But convection, no, we're talking conduction or induction. I'm not sure. I think that would be, I'm like waiting for that. That would be incredible. Because goodness gracious, we want the whole thing, right? Hey Karen, we're ready to serve up here. Yes.
I do not understand the whole thing. I don't understand that this is something you put on top of an already gas stove.
No. This is an electric. This is an electric piece that you slide right in.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
So it cannot transform, I guess.
I think that's a great question for ADU. I think they're going to be able to let you know about that. I haven't seen that right now. I believe we just have the drop-ins.
Puzzled by you have to then spend $500 on a whole new something or other.
Sure, like a wall stove or something like that. I think they have an answer for you. And I think it's a great question to ask, absolutely.
They come in cooktops and ranges, so you can just get cooktop, you're replacing a cooktop. If you have a range, you can get an induction range.
And then you cut off the gas to do that?
Yeah, you cut off the gas, you would drop the 240 line, and then you would have your range installed at that point.
So by range, you mean?
Yes, exactly, all piece.
So that is also.
Yes, they have this in induction, but the electric oven is just like the electric.
Please count how many more I need.
That can be convection and all that.
Good question now. 8 all day.
8 all day, that's it.
How was that chocolate covered strawberry? Good? Good. Yes, 67%.
36.
Yep.
And then you keep them in the fridge.
You want to keep them in a cool area. If you put them in the fridge, they'll start to sweat.
What about an apartment size induction? Is there an apartment size induction?
Basically, 30 inches, if you stand up to the white one there, that's like a 30-inch range. Right down. 36 is the most standard. Some people make the 42 and so that's density range.
Hold on, I gotta put more stuff on top.
They do make a 24, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay. 24 inch for apartment.
So we have some apartment building owners absolutely that might have that 24-inch.
Could you say again about the range? You said the oven part is conduction?
So the oven can either be a standard oven or it can be convection.
Electric, just like.
Yeah, just like a regular electric, nothing's changed about the oven. The top though, you can get with the induction top or the regular radiant top if you prefer.
You got it. Thank you. That's good. Don't take any more because we have two. But just don't take any more.
Either up or down, up draft or down draft.
This is
So
beautiful.
with the ventilation for electric and induction cooking, you're still gonna have cooking fumes from your food. And you want that vented out of your house. But the indoor air quality is gonna improve greatly if you get rid of natural gas cooking, because you're not gonna have things like methane and carbon monoxide and these other products of combustion in the kitchen.
Thank you.
And those can greatly impact
How'd we
your
do?
air quality, especially if you have any sort of lung issues or asthma. There's an increased risk of childhood asthma for kids who grow up with gas cooking in their homes. But we do always want to have ventilation to vent out those cooking fumes.
And grease particles.
And grease particles,
So,
yes.
if you are replacing a gas stove and you have a vent above it, you just keep the same vent.
Yes,
Correct.
it can be the same
Absolutely.
vent. Yep.
Absolutely.
And the induction comes in all sorts of configurations. So you can get a slide-in range that looks pretty much like any other electric stove, except for it's got an induction cooktop. You wouldn't really know the difference unless you were buying it and you know, or you go to use it. Or you can, get as fancy and high-end as you can possibly dream. I've seen them just
I would like to thank you all for coming today. Please give yourself a round of applause because without people we don't have a show. So thank you, all of the crew, all the friends at ADU. We're here to answer your questions. You can find me. I'm at Chef Egg, and if you have a cooking question, you just reach out and ask because I want you to have a good time with the cooking process. Using great tools, working with wonderful people if you're going to do a renovation in your kitchen or simply upgrade, and all the crew and the staff at Takoma Park. Gina back there. Thank you all very much. Have a fantastic afternoon, everyone.